It's now time for Remember When with Uncle John. John Guess, Ouachita County's resident storyteller and local historian. Sit back now and enjoy a walk down memory lane as John recalls the days of yesteryear in his own unique way. You never know, some of it might even be true. So here's Uncle John, along with his trusty sidekick, Kelly Blair.
Back on Remember When with Uncle John. Well, here we are at the next best thing to a Thursday, and I've been looking forward to this. I know I hear the same story every year, but I just love hearing about it. John, you were going to talk about a road trip you and some buddies took, unfortunately, right after hearing that Elvis had passed away.
Well, you know, I was fixing to cruise into my senior year of high school.
Right.
I went ahead and kicked out from the sawmill early. You know, school's going to start the next week, senior year. I had a couple of friends, and one of them has passed away. One of them is still alive, but due to the nature of his church affiliation, his name will remain silent.
Anonymous. There we go.
Anonymous. He is anonymous. His mother had a brand new car.
Uh-huh.
So we decided we was going to take us a road trip up to Memphis because we done seen it on the TV, man. Everybody's crowded around the big music gates at Graceland, you know. We're going to cruise up. We're going to cruise over on I-40, man. Check out the folks over in Whitehaven. That's the part of Memphis where Graceland is.
There you go.
And, you know, in those days, you didn't go to the Texas Roadhouse. You didn't go to the Longhorn Steakhouse. You didn't go to Olive Garden.
Well, there wasn't nearly as many of those out there as
there wasn't a half a dozen McDonald's in this part of the country back then.
Right.
A road trip in those days consisted of McDonald's.
Oh, okay.
Because that was the ultimate gourmet food.
That was a luxury.
Especially when you're herbed up.
There you go.
We left Chittister.
The munchies were a real thing.
We left Chittister in a brand new Monte Carlo, and we had an ice chest with several tubes of wine in it, and we had some herb.
Okay.
And you know we're tooling down, you know, I-40 East, listening to K-Kick 104 out of Little Rock, and of course you know Elvis is the main deal everywhere, and we get over, you know, we cross the big river, go past the dog track, cross the big bridge, get over into Memphis. You know, there wasn't no GPS in those days.
Right.
So we figure out how to get to Whitehaven. We tool over in there. We're just a few blocks from Graceland. And, you know, we go into McDonald's because we got the munchies.
Absolutely.
Like I said, man, it was gourmet food in those days. And the manager had brought in his little console color TV, had it on one of these food carts, you know.
Yep.
Had the aluminum foil on the rabbit ears and all that, you know, and they're watching the deal on TV, you know.
Newscast, yep.
A lot of folks don't remember this. There was a guy drove into the crowd, killed a couple of people.
For crying out loud.
Drove right up in the crowd in his car, and I can't remember exactly how many people it killed. I know there's a couple of people it killed.
They ever figured out why?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
At the time, I wasn't concerned about that.
Right.
Like I said, as Jay Thomas always says, you know, on the David Letterman show for Christmas about the Lone Ranger, we were herbed up.
There you go.
Well, you know, we were enjoying our quarter pounders, you know, those good fries, man. Remember, of course, the fries are still great. But
yeah, McDonald's always
in those
had best
days,
fries.
you couldn't get nothing no better, you know.
Right.
And, of course, their Cokes tasted like no Cokes anywhere else. But, you know, we're all feeling full of ourselves, and the guy drives up in the crowd, man, you know, and kills a bunch of folks.
Man, that's crazy.
So we figured, you know, the last thing three boys from Chittister needed, especially one that was fixing to start his senior year of high school, the last thing we needed was any interruption from the police.
Yep.
Over somebody else's mistake.
Right.
So we not only finished our gourmet meal, we got us some gourmet meal for the road.
To go.
And so back down I-40 West we came.
Quick road
And
trip.
we was as close to Memphis in the Golden Arches as we was going to get.
There you go.
As close to Graceland as we were going to get, you know, while we were sitting there in the Golden Arches. But we talked about that. I had a good friend, you know, that passed away in 2007 that was with us. We laughed and talked about it, you know, every time we got together. It's just one of those road stories, you know, that you think about. I often wonder what a difference in my life it would have been if we went on down to Graceland. You know?
Sure.
I might have found the love of my life and ended up living in Memphis. You never could tell, but that's my Memphis story. August the 18th, 1977, 45 years ago.
Yeah, I'm telling you. But you know what? You still got the road trip out of it, which means you still
yeah.
got all those memories.
Absolutely, you know, and that's what it's all called. That's what it's about. Remember when.
Remember and win. There you go. Hey, that's going to wrap up Remember When for today. But we still want to thank our great sponsors, including the Prescott Raceway, 904-5952. They'll have races going on at 5121 Highway 53 East this Saturday. Go by and see Jackie Lewis or give him a call down at the Napa store in Magnolia, 234-2184.
ProMed Ambulance, 1-800-634-0436. Give them a call. Get signed up.
Don't forget about Sherwin-Williams House Paint, 836-8125 right here in Camden. Or go by and see Greg Bradshaw and his great staff in person at 315 Jefferson Street Southwest. Before you start that paint project, they got a couple of pointers you could probably use before it's all said and done.
And our good friend JJ down at the Shopper's Guide. Give him a call for all your stationery needs.
Yeah, he can do up some pretty good business cards for you as well. Also, check out our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcast. You can find them on YouTube, and you can also find it on the Radio Works Facebook page. I guess we'll see you tomorrow, John.
See you tomorrow.
You've been listening to Remember When with Uncle John on Y95. This broadcast can be heard each weekday morning at 6:45 on South Arkansas's favorite station, Y95.